Stanisław Barszczak, Russia launches attack. Częstochowa, February 24, 2022. The war between Russia and Ukraine has become a fact. Vladimir Putin ordered a special military operation in Donbass. This is a response to the appeal of the leaders of the Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republic, who called on Moscow to defend against aggression from Ukraine. In the morning of February 24, the war between Russia and Ukraine began. Vladimir Putin ordered a military operation. Putin said, "The circumstances call for decisive action on the part of Russia." He also said, Russia does not intend to occupy Ukraine. This is the response of the Russian president to Wednesday call by the leaders of eastern Ukraine areas that are controlled by separatists. Today's events are related to the defense of Russia itself against those who took Ukraine hostage and tried to use it against our country and nation, said the Russian leader. The first shots were fired several dozen minutes after Putin's order. As reported in the media, the explosion took place, among others, in Kharkiv. Explosions are also to be heard in the Kiev region. Explosion sounds have been registered, among others, during the CNN reporter's report with capital of Ukraine. The first recording showing the moment of the explosions also hit the network. These were to be registered, among others, in Kharkiv and surroundings. The Euromaidan press group also provided information about mortar firing from the occupied Crimea. Additionally, in this region, tanks were to move towards Ukraine. The alarms of the war in Kiev itself are heard on the television. The president of Ukraine, Zelensky, announced the introduction of martial law throughout Ukraine. In turn, this morning, a mayor of Kiev just called on the residents of the capital to stay at home. We read on Twitter, Putin has just launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Peaceful Ukrainian cities are under attack. This is aggression. Ukraine would defend himself and win. The world can and must stop Putin. The time has come to act. We read the proclamations on the internet. The declaration on the aggression of Russia was also issued by the Minister of the Interior of Ukraine. The invasion has begun. There have been missile attacks on military buildings and airports in Kiev and Kharkiv. Artillery shelling on the border is underway. Your missile attacks on command centers, airports, military depots in Kiev, Kharkiv, Dnieper, said Anton Herashchenko, representative of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine. The world reacted almost immediately to the decision of the Russian leader. A special meeting of the Council was convened United Nations Security. The boss spoke about the attack by Russian Antonio Guterres, United Nations Secretary General. It doesn't make any sense. It will cause the level of suffering it has not been seen in Europe since the Balkan crisis, Guterres stressed. There was also a voice from Poland. Unfortunately, my country, black comes through the scenario we talked about, that is direct entry to the territory of Ukraine from the side of Russia. Therefore, in the mode of immediately, a security committee was convened, National and Defense Affairs, in which the participation of Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki and Deputy Prime Minister Jarosław Kaczyński take part. Said government spokesman Peter Mila, despite the efforts of the international community, Ukraine fell victim to the brutal, unprovoked and unjustified Russian assaults. We cooperate with our allies from NATO and the EU. Together we will respond to Russian brutal aggression and will not leave it Ukraine without support, President Duda wrote on Twitter. The spokesman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Łukasz Jasina, from Poland, the government is calling for citizens in Poland to evacuate from Ukraine. They in particular danger. We strongly advise against any trips to Ukraine, he said. He also announced the publication warning notes for Poles. In turn, United States President Joe Biden had a conversation with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, said the representatives of the United States administration. President Zelensky on television informed the citizens of Ukraine about his desire to talk to President Putin by phone, but behind the headphones of Tishina, silence, he said. As a result, in a video message, he said that Biden had informed him about the preparation of international support. I condemned this unprovoked and unjustified attack by the Russian armed forces. I informed him of the step we are taking to instigate international condemnation, including this evening at the United Nations Security Council. He asked me to call on world leaders to make a clear statement against President Putin's blatant aggression. Joe Biden tweeted, I am shocked by the terrible event in Ukraine and spoke to President Zelensky to discuss the next steps. President Putin chose the path of bloodshed and destruction in his unprovoked attack on Ukraine. The United Kingdom and our allies will respond in a decisive manner, Boris Johnson wrote on Twitter. The head of the European Commission also condemned Putin's actions. We strongly condemn Russia's unjustified attack on Ukraine. In these dark hours, our thoughts are with Ukraine and innocent women, men and children as they face this unprovoked attack and fear for your life. We'll pull the Kremlin responsible, wrote Ursula von der Leyen. So the conflict between Russia and Ukraine continues. Diplomacy has failed. Diplomatic efforts to prevent a war between Russia and Ukraine lasted almost until the last minute. And now only sanctions against Russia remained. Economic sanctions are a misfire in the first place, I ponder, or even a late ignition error, I would say. And the truth stands in the middle. In medias res, Russia's legitimization of the Donetsk and the Luhansk People's Republic is a disregard for the poor separatists of eastern Ukraine, in fact the Union of the United States of America and also the Polish reason of détat, but ultimately the fulfillment of the desire for peace by the inhabitants of the eastern Ukraine, where disagreement and conflict have been going on for 8 years. We cannot predict the war in the Polish neighborhood, its consequences and what it will bring. I would like to fully sympathize with the people of Ukraine, now often separated by the loss of war. I embrace innocent people with deep Christian prayer, because at that time they are the part of today's world that is closest to my heart. Priest Stanislaw Barszczak, the Republic of Poland.